That's your nickname for it, the Mothership?
This is the Mothership. I haven't opened this session in a while. Track count, 897. Not too crazy. Decent. Chunky.
I don't think I'm ever getting over you.
What the fuck?
So this sound, when the drop hits in the chorus, the like electronic drop, I literally put a sound that does that exact thing in here. This is my whole world. What's up? Filled with trinkets and stories and all sorts of stuff.
There's so much to look at. Piano, drum set, guitars. Where do you spend the most time in this room?
In this chair.
In this chair?
I'd say, yeah. I've sat in this chair for like probably tens of thousands of hours at this point. Do you want to have a seat?
Yeah, of course.
It feels good.
It is quite comfy.
Yeah.
I think it is shaped to you.
It's probably molded to my back shape.
No, it actually
this
is.
work shape. I would say this is the place I end up sitting because when you sit here, you get both speakers directly pointed at you, which is a good space to be. So when you're sculpting and mixing, whatever. I need to turn on my lantern. You turn on the lantern by blowing on it. Do you want to blow on it?
So this lantern right here.
Yeah, if you blow on it, it turns on.
Wow. If I suck back in, does it turn off? No way.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's insane. Are you serious? Where'd you get this? That's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think there's probably a genie in there.
So is that the secret?
No.
You got 3 wishes?
No. So I learned to walk in this room. When I learned to walk in this room, things were in a slightly different place. I mean, all these guitars and everything, these weren't here. Where the piano currently is were those like classic wooden IKEA shelves, sort of towering IKEA shelves made out of these thin panels of wood. And they were like legendary for me. Paper, music, books, and all sorts of stuff, they were all here. When the time came, I think it was 2017 maybe, to kind of slightly redesign how this room felt. I wanted to build the shelves up into the top so that I had all this space for other things down below, but I didn't want to lose the spirit of the shelves, because they really meant a lot to me as a kid. Every piece of wood in these shelves was repositioned and combined to actually make this exact desk. So every one of these bits of wood is one of the original IKEA shelves. We actually filled the desk with concrete to keep out the cold in the dead of winter nights, but also just to make sure that there's like absolutely nothing that rattles or moves. We built the desk with like maybe 1 millimeter gap so that it can slot straight in. So all the cables come straight out the back. And then we can slot these side bits in just to make sure it's like snug as a bug in a rug. And that feels good. But now these have been discontinued. So I have to, whenever this one breaks or I spill tea on it, which I inevitably always do, I have to beg for if they have any like unused spares, which up until they have done. One of the biggest challenges with a room this size is fitting all the microphones in. There's literally microphones hidden all over this room. For example, if you look inside the piano, just in here, you see this bar. On this bar are these tiny microphones here. These called Earthworks microphones. And they sound really good. So here's the left one there. So that gets all the low notes, and then that over here gets all the high notes. All these sort of cable systems around the side. This was all designed by my really, really good friend Ben Bloomberg, who wanted to find a way to like equip this room in the best possible way, but without taking a bunch of space up. Because in a proper studio, you have like tons of, every mic has a mic stand and a unit and a bit of hardware and all that stuff. So everything's kind of packed into the walls quite intelligently. I say the Mothership. Every microphone is plugged into one of these like ports, goes through this little grace thing here. All those cables run in this tube here, which like you don't notice, but this tube goes all the way around the room into the back of this guy, sort of the brain. And then this talks to this, then they kind of combine forces and end up in here.
Now that I'm down here, there's so many glowing things, you have no idea. Now, what was the motivation or inspiration about wanting to keep it in this room or keep building it out? Was there ever a point where you were like halfway and you're like, maybe I should just get a studio somewhere?
Yeah, I should get a studio somewhere.
What am I doing?
Well, I realised as I was working on this last album that I just finished, which is actually this one, Jesse Volume 4, there you go. So this is actually a real glass, like a 3-dimensional glass sculpture in real life. In the process of recording this record, I travelled so many different places all around the world, right? So there's musicians from like India, from South America, from Korea, from all around Europe, even Africa. What I kind of loved about the process of doing that was every workspace you go into, like there's something that you're like, I like the way you did that. And so you take a part of that back and you put it in your own space. And I'm sure at some point I'll have a studio or studios in different parts of the world, but this will always be the kind of like ultimate anchor because it's where everything started. Like everything started here. It's kind of reached a pitch now, I probably can't bring in any more stuff. These literal walls, they've seen me grow from nothing. So when I'm far away from home, collaborating with musicians or whatever, I often kind of like, I can kind of like tune into the room, even if I'm really, really far away from here. So I can be like, I can like beam up and be like, got it. You know what I mean? Like you can ask them for answers, as I think you can with any sanctuary. But it's a wise room. You can ask the lantern.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
it.
It's starting to make sense.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my God, the lights turned on here.
Yeah.
Too. Oh, dude. Why am I most impressed by the lantern in the
It is
corner?
impressive. It's impressive.
So how many instruments do you think are in this room? Have you counted it?
That
Do you
is
know?
a hard question. Should we count them? Okay, that's 30. Oh, there's actually a spare hook. Okay, I can put this up on the hook. Wow. I'd probably say there's another like 15 here. I'd probably say like 70 instruments, things that you can also use to make sound, is probably about 100. This, which was like the saucepan when I was 12. Like give that a whack. Yeah. I mean, it's as good a cowbell as you could dream of. Doesn't necessarily constitute as an instrument, but I would count this in. So
Probably used everything in this room at some point to make a sound.
definitely one of my absolute favourites. Can you hold that for 1 sec?
Yes, sir.
That's not my favourite, but I do love that one. It's actually this. Have you ever had panettone?
I have actually.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Happy New Year, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Happy New Year, Happy New Year.
Cool.
By the way, the New Year just happened.
Yeah, we are out here. So this is properly good, and especially if you play it with one of these little like timpani mallets. Cool, it's a cool sound, isn't it? It's like, and if you pitch this up and down,
Yeah.
you could be like a tom setup. Pretty fun. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, that's so fun.
Panettone. You can barely see it through these glasses. It's like really dark. It's really dark.
The double glasses definitely made it seem like
Yeah.
we're in a different dimension.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. There's a song on the album called Sheep at Sunshine, which is the second song on the album. And this is actually in it. I'm typing something out. On the album is a bunch of Morse code, which I've become a little bit obsessed with. So it's like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, with the flashing lights and stuff like that.
There's a hidden message.
Yeah, so there are all sorts of hidden messages across the
Did
record.
the genie tell you to do that?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm just acting on behalf of this genie. I'm just passing along the message. A real life instrument that is also cool, that I love, is actually this Appalachian Mountain dulcimer.
Oh, that's where I grew up.
Oh shit, is it really? You'll be more familiar than this than I am. Have a seat. You put this on your lap. That's a pick that I made myself. That I've definitely chewed. You can see it's like chewed by my teeth.
Chew marks on it. Yeah. Kind of makes you want to chew it.
Yeah,
because
right.
There's chew marks
Yeah.
on it. That's really weird.
You strum here.
He doesn't like the sound.
It's not in tune, is it?
How can you tell what should be
better.
in tune and what shouldn't?
You listen to the beats. Kind of goes, and then you know it's in tune. So this is. That's much better. And I'm not a Appalachian Mountain dulcimer expert. And then you can fret here. Oh. And there's no wrong notes on this instrument, which is kind of, I mean, there's no wrong notes on any instrument. It almost sounds like someone's yodeling, you know?
Yeah, it does a little bit.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But you see the frets are different sizes. And that means that there are only notes on this in one particular scale, which is like the D major. This scale.
The notion that there is no wrong notes, because I think that, well, certainly from my understanding of music, that's
Yeah.
something that you probably brought to the forefront of modern day.
Yeah, oh, well, thanks very much. I think when people are growing up, right, and they're thinking about music, learning music from teachers and whatever, I think there is this notion that, you know, some notes are right notes, some notes are wrong notes. Now, it depends what the kind of music is that you're making. If you're trying to play classical music that is on the page, you could say, well, okay, this note is not written on the page, so it's, you know, it doesn't fit in this particular piece. But when you're writing music, when you're improvising music, you can play whatever you want, like anything you want. And there's no such thing as a right note and a wrong note. So even if I sit at the piano and I'm improvising, and I might hit a note that is weird. So that sounds a bit weird, right? But I can make that note make sense. And basically just, if you play a note that feels wrong, then you can put that note in a new context that makes it right, you know? And I just love that feeling so much. And I've spent many, many hours in this exact place, just like finding my way through all these different. But yeah, there's no such thing as a wrong note, especially on the Appalachian Mountain dulcimer.
I feel like the only way I can relate to what everything you just said is like video editing, which I've been doing for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And you'll be editing a video and like play something that doesn't make any sense. And then you're like, oh, wow, that might have been the most beautiful part. Let's create something around this.
Exactly.
And like everything else was like a wash now.
It's like treating happy accidents with reverence.
You know, I was watching the BBC documentary on you, and there was a point where your mom was vacuuming, and then she was like, what note is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Did that happen a lot as a child?
Yeah. Well, so if you walk around the world as a child or adult, a lot of stuff makes sounds, like car alarms go off, or microwave, whatever. So one of the joys for me as a kid was, because my mum has what's called perfect pitch, which is that she can identify any note without a reference point. So like, she knows that's an E flat. As a kid, would walk around the world and I'd get shown around the world of pitch by someone who knew. So yeah, for example, the Hoover. Or yeah, you say vacuum cleaner. It's like, hey, what note does that feel like? And it would never be, what note is that, or what note, it's like, what does that note make you feel like? That note makes me feel like it's like this color, or it's kind of like this texture. So I say, well, that's kind of like maybe that's kind of like a G, or kind of like a D. And so gradually I kind of amassed this pitch memory so now I can identify any note that is in the world without a reference point. And not just in a musical way, but just in an emotional way. It's like everything in the world has like a inertia or momentum or a little personality. So like this rock, for example, and this juggling ball. It's like, are they friends? Yeah, I think they probably are friends. Or sometimes, but I'm not, don't know about what's happened here. No, absolutely not. So like the process of kind of creating life out of things just by the way they interact with each other and feel is like a beautiful process. My mum just kind of opened my eyes, my ears to the idea that the whole world is kind of like speaking to you the whole time. Trees or the road or a car or Hoover or microwave, whatever it is, it's like, hey, you're singing to me. And if you learn to listen to the singing, it's like everything starts singing. And it's like overwhelming and beautiful. For some people, their access point is their head. Like you think your way into analysing something, but for my mum, it's here. This is the access point. So it's like, how does that note feel? How does that chord feel? If I play this chord, and then I play. It's like it changed colour, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's like, so this note is the same. So this is like a bridge from one world to another, but like this feels one way and this feels another way and this feels one way and this, it's like there's so many different feelings and you can access them all via these chords. And I mean, I could talk for hours about this, but growing up, that was like a huge part of my learning. It was like, everything is connected in that way from here.
You're just like beaming right now. It's so fun to watch.
Thanks very much.
Speaking of beaming, you do have a new album coming out.
True.
And you were going to play something for us, I think.
Yeah.
That you were working on.
Yeah, this is a song that I've been cooking up that's on the album. Let me put this Appalachian Mountain Dulcimer back in its rightful home of...
Above the Genie.
Over quarantine, I did a Tiny Desk from Home video. Yeah, so I put this on my desk, so I had the NPR Tiny Desk, because I do have a bit of a tiny desk.
This is like your trophy for participating.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Thanks so much for coming. You should do a Tiny Desk talk.
That's a great idea.
Everybody who goes to the Tiny Desk is encouraged to leave a trinket behind on the desk. So I left my Oyster card, which if you're from the UK, you know what Oyster card is. It's like, yeah, but there's like Adele's water bottle and there's like all these amazing trinkets on the desk. You should pitch for that one. They would be so lucky to have you. That'd be sick. A lot of this is like, I wouldn't say modelled on Tiny Desk, but it's very much inspired by the thought of you can have all the trinkets on the shelves. This is all the like audio files and stuff, which just takes forever. Oh, here we go.
I think this is a true testament. No matter how successful you are, you still have to watch a loading
bar. Yeah.
You know?
Spinning wheels for us all. I keep this here as a reminder.
That's actually amazing.
And if you roll that up and make it into an object, then you get this. So these things just like give me patience. And I think we are loaded. I haven't opened this session in a while. Track count 897. Not too crazy, but still like decent, chunky. Okay, you ready?
I'm gonna let it. I could be yours, I know you could be. I've been looking up when I'm feeling down. Somehow I know that I'm gonna be alright. This love ain't gonna take me so far. Up in the sky, gonna shine like a star. When I'm feeling blue, then I think of you. This time I know that I'm gonna be alright. You got everything I need and more. Such a feeling in a card right now. So put your arms around me, let me take you to the skies. I'm never getting over you. I don't think I'll ever get over you. 'Cause you're all I think about. I don't think I'll ever get over you. 'Cause you're all I think about. Every time I hear you call my name, all I think about is you.
Oh no, system overload.
System overload, the motherboard.
It happens sometimes.
I don't think I'm ever getting over you.
What the fuck? That's so sick.
I don't think I'm ever getting over you. I think that you feel
Korean.
I don't think I'll ever get over you, 'cause you're all I think about. I don't think I'll ever get over you, 'cause you're all I think about. Every time I hear you calling my name, all I think about is you. I don't think I'm ever getting over you.
What is this song?
Oh no, system overload.
System overload.
Ah.
Wow. Crazy.
Thanks very much.
I didn't know what to expect at all, and it kept on having this twist. Where I was like, whoa.
Oh yeah, I love
know?
I love my twist.
Part of the movie where you're just like, hell yeah.
Let's go up to the top.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it feels like.
Oh man, thanks very much.
In that song, I can name like 7 different genres of music.
Yeah.
My brain is just kind of. But, you know, in terms of influences, in terms of how your music's evolved throughout the 4 albums, where do you feel you're at now? Because that was what I'd heard: rap stuff, gospel stuff, like electronic.
Well, I think we're all living in like a post-genre world a bit now.
Yeah.
Genre was like quite a 20th century construct for me. So now it's just like if you like it, you include it. It's cool. So in this song, yeah, there's like tons of gospel stuff. The first time we met, you were watching a video of me with these gospel singers.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
these singers are in this song actually. It's one of the reasons I wanted to play you this song. These are the Kirk Franklin singers. Where are they? This is like the room. It's like things just get lost and you can't find them. Horns? No, it's not horns. Kirk, here they are. Every one of these tracks is actually a folder of tracks. This is the gospel choir.
Shine, mine, all right.
Like that. So then they create the counterpoint with the melody.
This is my line, I'm gonna let it. I could be yours, I know you could be. I've been looking up when.
So yeah, that's kind of fun. You know how I was talking about these, right? So this sound,
Yeah.
I always love that. When the drop hits in the chorus, the like electronic drop, which I think is, there's a folder called Drop Antics, yeah. I literally put a sound that does that exact thing in here. So it kind of goes like. You know what I mean? So someone goes like, and it's like you wake up, a little bit inspired by I think it's called Deutz, I think they're called. Yeah. That was a really good one.
That was a good one.
But I guess to answer the question as far as like influences are concerned, it's just wide open, I guess. And as you were saying, I like surprising people. And the only way to surprise someone is to surprise yourself. Whoa, I did not see that coming, Jacob. But there's a lot of like, just like cross alchemy between different things that I just really like a lot.
A quick fire round of Jacob Collier's favorite things.
This is Jethro. Jethro and I met in New Zealand in a duty-free shop, and I was walking past the shop, and we made eye contact, and we just knew it was like this is a bond. The thing that would give me the best chance of becoming friends with Jethro was purchasing him. So I purchased him, and since that moment, Jethro has sat on the piano of every performance I've done since 2019, end 2019. This, a fever dream of mine, which came true. It's a 5-string guitar, which for those of you who play guitar, it's actually quite an uncommon number of strings. Most guitars have 6 strings or 4 strings. I dreamed about this tuning for a long, long time, and I asked Taylor if they wouldn't mind making one for me, so they did. Because I loved it so much, I'm getting to like kind of death metal and prog metal recently. There's a bit of it on the record. For that purpose, I had this built, which is an amazing 5-string electric guitar made by Strandberg, who are very awesome. And this arrived yesterday. It's the first prototype of like the JC, that's me, that's my name, 5-string electric guitar by Strandberg. but none of your normal shapes are going to work.
Oh yeah, none of my normal
Yeah.
shapes are gonna
Yeah.
work. It's like I'm starting over.
It's the first time I've encountered it. If I'd encountered it before, I wouldn't have had to make one.
Yeah, true.
This was the first musical instrument I ever received as a present. I was 8 years old, 8th birthday, and this is what's called a djembe drum, prevalent across Africa, and I absolutely loved this djembe drum, and I played it all the time as a young child in this very room. I actually borrowed this from my secondary school. I'm yet to return it, but I will one day, maybe. This was built by a drum master in Cleveland. Come on.
Oh, hi Jacob.
Thank you. Yeah, these were knitted by a fan, actually, whose name is Azzy. But you know, when you play drum kit, you have a hi-hat, right? But it turns out that spoons, especially when played with this thing, it sounds really groovy. Yeah, spillage is inevitable.
Inevitable.
But I mean, I'm not going to take credit for that. I feel like I saw somebody do something like this. But yeah, these are all my grandfather's spoons. This is my hat stand. So yeah, so whenever I'm braving the outside world in
I
New
have
York,
this exact
you
same.
have this exact hat.
Well, I don't anymore, but I had it.
What
for
happened to
periods.
it?
So I wore it to a party. I think someone stole it.
Oh
off
man,
my
I'm
head.
so sorry.
You know how people like to do that when you have a fun hat at
Yeah.
a party and then they
Yeah, and
grab it
you're vulnerable. This hat was, I played a show in Manila. Someone at the back of the venue shook this thing, which I couldn't quite see what it was, sent it, like handed it to the whole audience all the way down, the whole venue. The fan had made it herself, because she knew that I needed it on my hat stand. These Grammys here are not just useful for my ego, they're also useful a go-go bell. So this one here, for example, it sounds great. It sounds a little bit like a receptionist bell, right?
Yeah, that's a nice sound. Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah. They all have slightly different notes. But I have actually recorded with them quite a lot.
Leave it to Jacob Collier to make songs with his Grammys, you know?
There's over 100,000 people on the album. One of the things I love doing in live performances is I love getting the audience to sing, but not just like sing along, but like sing chords and stuff. So I built a plugin out of all the audiences. Oh man! But this was really helpful for the album because every time I needed like a choir sound,
Yeah.
it's like, I'll just use them all my friends. And this is like the very, very, very earliest prototype. That's a few cities, that's a few cities, that's a few cities. So that's like 7 or 8 cities around the world. There'll be a little map of the cities, and as you play the chords, the cities that are singing like kind of light up,
That's so fun.
which is really cool. And you can actually change the vowel sound. You say like I by moving this dot around here.
Wow. Things that go through your brain.
Yeah.
The things that go through your brain.
I think music's for everybody. And I think it's made out of everybody. It's not just for everybody, but it's like everyone who's ever walked the earth and made music has absorbed like so many things, like whether it's sounds, people, experiences. And I think music is a beautiful way of showing that. And it's like some of them are conscious, you take them unconsciously, like we're having a conversation right now. But then some of them, most of them you could say are just unconscious, like you walk down the street in a city and there's so much that's going in, and then it's not until you sit down and start making stuff that you realize I've absorbed so much, and there's a part of you in everything you've absorbed and everyone you've ever met, and there's like this constant exchange, which I just think is so beautiful. But in music, it's a very clear way of showing that there's like I'm going to put all these things I've absorbed consciously or unconsciously, and both consciously and unconsciously they will find their way into the thing I'm making, and then they'll be back out in the world, and that's like that completes the cycle, because that's how the world works. Fair trade, you know.
What happens now?
Vacation. The honest answer is I don't know yet. My goal with Jesse, my sort of informal goal was by the end of Jesse Volume 4, no matter where I am in my life when I finish it, this is back in 2017, I'd like to be ready to start my career. And I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I know enough about music to contribute something of value in my areas of interest, which is a good feeling. Yeah.
That's actually quite beautiful and profound.
Thanks.
Actually. So I expect to see you in a suit Monday morning at the desk.
Yes, yeah, great. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And I will now juggle, and then that's the end. No.
Whoa.
Whoa, whoa. Okay.